Hello and welcome to my latest video. Today, eclipse season is coming. Eclipse season is here. I'm recording this early March, and we're going to be talking about the full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees Virgo. Another out of bounds full moon, and this time it's an eclipse. So we're going to talk all things eclipse. We're going to talk Virgo, what is Virgo? What is the Virgo Pisces axis and what's actually going on in the skies? And then I'm going to go into a all signs forecast for your sign so that you can listen for your sun, moon, or rising and how this is going to affect you personally. And to give you some hot tips on eclipses, what not to do, what to do. So stay tuned for all of the great tips. First and foremost, I know you've got your 2025 moon manifesting journal for this eclipse, for the rest of the moons of 2025 as well, to help you navigate the lunar energy. For this particular moon we're talking about, we go to the March page and we're going to the full moon, March 13 or 14, depending where you live on the planet. It's at 23 degrees of Virgo. At 23:54 PST. So for a lot of the people on the planet, it's on early wee hours of March 14. And it is a full moon total eclipse. So what does that mean? Let's first talk about that. When it is within 10 degrees orb of the nodes, then it is a total eclipse. So it's even more eclipsy. The one at the end of the month, which we will talk about in the next video, is a partial eclipse. So this one's a total eclipse because the full moon is at 23 degrees and the south node is at 27 degrees. So it's a very close aspect that it's making at the time of this first eclipse of 2025. So we're already feeling it. I know I'm already feeling it. Again, I'm filming this in early March, and I have been all week sick with a chest congestion thingy-maboo. And yes, I have been getting rid of the gunk. And that's exactly what this full moon eclipse is all about. So perhaps you're also feeling this, and maybe it's been running through your whole family as well, and everyone has been getting this cold, flu, whatever it is. But for me personally, I know it's about getting rid of the gunk. The lungs hold grief. This is where we hold our grieving. And oh, yes, I have gone through some grief in this life of mine. And so I sincerely feel the cosmos are encouraging me, pardon me, to get rid of the gunk in time for this eclipse. Let's talk about eclipses. What are they, anyhow, in terms of a spiritual message? What is an eclipse? Whether it's a full moon eclipse or a new moon eclipse, eclipses are always an invitation to hop onto a new timeline because things either come in or go out at the time of eclipses. So depending on your personal natal birth chart, this one may or may not be hitting you in a big way. Maybe you have the nodes on the Pisces Virgo axis, or maybe you've got personal planets in Pisces and Virgo. So this might be affecting you. I know when the south node, or the north node was in Gemini, so that's opposite for me. I was having a nodal reverse. Big life change for me, a big invitation to get onto a new timeline. I met my husband. So stuff like that, like things like that come in or go out at the time of an eclipse. So, and what I really get into in this moon manifesting journal is when I talk about the eclipses of 2025, I encourage you to not do manifestation around eclipses, okay? There's no need to write intentions or do those kind of circles in terms of hoping for manifestations around eclipses because the universe is putting something in or taking something out. What we need to do is surrender to what leaves or what comes in. And it might not be anything huge. It might be a mindset shift that changes your life. It might be a tangible physical thing. And when it's a lunar eclipse, which means it's a full moon eclipse, usually This is just rule of thumb. Usually you see a manifestation, something comes in, something is tangible, or something tangibly leaves, right? Whereas when it is a solar eclipse on a new moon, often it's more of an internal shift. So a mindset shift, or you finally get it, that aha moment that can change your life. Something you finally understand and realize about a lesson learned, and then you take a totally new trajectory. And that's a beautiful thing as well. But usually at a lunar eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse, it's tangible. And so again, we do not do manifestational. We can still come together in community. We can still do our moon circles, absolutely, and our rituals that way, absolutely. But manifestation practice is not recommended at an eclipse. It is also not recommended to look at La Luna at the exact moment of the eclipse. There's many examples out there of people that have looked at the moon, have looked up to the heavens and looked at the moment of the eclipse happening. And there are many examples of people's lives completely falling apart after having looked at it. So now I know this sounds very woo-woo, and I know that this sounds like, oh, old-fashioned, the ancients. The ancients all told us not to do it, so why would we listen to the ancients? I'm just saying, there is so many examples of it. So why do it? So again, connect with your coven, connect with your community, have a moon circle, nothing wrong with that. But there is absolutely no need to do manifestation practices at eclipses because the universe is putting you on a new timeline. Are you ready to surrender to it? And surrender is the word because this is on the Virgo Pisces axis. The North Node is in Pisces right now. And so we're all being encouraged. Every single one of us living on Earth right now is being encouraged to go toward high vibing Pisces energy, which is surrender, which is let go, let Goddess, forgive, and surrender to that flow, that beautiful divine feminine energy. And so we're all being encouraged to release, like we always do at a full moon, no matter what full moon it is, whether it's an eclipse or whatever sign it's in. We're always being encouraged at a full moon to release and to accept what has or has not come in tangibly manifested into our lives and to release it and cut cords if need be. So we're always encouraged to do that at a full moon, but on steroids, times a million when it's an eclipse, okay? And so it's in the Virgo house placement. And I'm going to go through all 12 houses for you so that you can understand this energy for your own natal birth chart. And that's going to be a very powerful. I love doing these for people because you can tangibly look at your own birth chart and you can understand where it's affecting your life. Okay, but for the most part, let's talk about Virgo. Virgo is health, our health. And so, hello, my health has been for the last week, I have been sick. Okay. So I don't take breaks. Okay. I don't enjoy resting. And Pisces wants us all to rest, okay? Pisces rules the dream state, like at night and sleeping. And Pisces has been encouraging me to rest and not work. And Virgos work. So we're all being encouraged to maybe let go of the shadow vibe of Virgo. Now, high vibe Virgo is wonderful, but we're not looking at the high vibe when we look at the South Node energy of wherever the nodes are. South Node is always encouraging us to let go of the shadow vibe of that sign. And then the North Node is always encouraging all of us to go toward the high vibe of whatever the sign is. So again, the North Node is in Pisces. We're all being encouraged to be high vibe in Pisces energy, which is surrendering, let go, let Goddess. One foot in this world, one foot in the other. It's very spiritual. It's very dreamy, so dreams at night. So really looking into our dreams at night, analyzing our dreams at night, as well as our daydreams during the day. All of those things that we can't tangibly put our finger on and say, I have this evidence. Pisces really doesn't need evidence. Pisces just knows. Pisces is a step beyond believing. Pisces knows, you know? And so we're all being encouraged to get into that energy. And so we're all being encouraged to release shadow vibe Virgo energies. And shadow vibe Virgo is things like being unhealthy. So if high vibe Virgo is extremely healthy and extremely pure, they're the most pure humans. So a pure Virgo can't really eat a whole bag of Doritos chips because if they eat all those Doritos, a high vibe in Virgo is going to feel so sick. Virgos that smoke, Virgos that drink, do the bad stuff. Uh, most of us can get away with it. You know, we might feel a little bit off, but it really affects a Virgo person. So if a high vibe in Virgo, we're talking high vibe Virgo, is the most pure of the humans and the most healthy of the humans, well, then the shadow vibe of the Virgos are the unhealthy ones. So we're all being encouraged to stop being unhealthy, to be healthy, let go of our unhealthy patterns, because Virgo rules patterns in our everyday. What do we do every day? Get up in the morning, have your celery juice. Do you go for a walk? Do you make your own food? You know, that's high vibe and Virgo energy is just like being scheduled in your day, doing it every day. Sure, that's boring. Sure, that's boring, but those habits, those atomic habits, if you will, is so high vibing Virgo. But shadow vibing Virgo is not taking care of your health and not doing it on the daily. So like going to the gym once a week and being all like, well, why aren't I losing weight? Why aren't I healthy? I ate a carrot yesterday. You know, it's the every single day stuff. So we're all being encouraged to drop some unhealthy patterns. We're all being encouraged to rest when we're not feeling 100% healthy. That's not easy for me. I'm a hardcore Aries woman, so I go, 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 go. So I have listened and I know that eclipse energy always comes in before. So this date of this eclipse is March 13, 14. And I'm recording this on the 7th of March. So it's already in. Of course it is. Eclipse energy is like at least 10 days prior and 6 months after, at least 6 months after. That's how strong the energy of an eclipse is. So I've been encouraged by the cosmos to just rest and get rid of the gunk and like literally look at what is it, what is the health issue for you? Like for me, I'm literally getting rid of the gunk. And so let's take a literal look at that, right? Like what is it that I have been holding on to grief? I've been holding on to grief in my body. It's time to let that go. So all of us are encouraged to let go, cut some cords, release it. And our physical bodies might be encouraging us to do that as well. And it could be, you know, something little and it could be something big. And so health crisis is written all over this eclipse. I'm already feeling it. And if it's going to be just a lung infection that I have to take some antibiotics for, which doesn't thrill me, but I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? There's much worse health issues out there in the world, and I hope that nobody gets a terrible diagnosis, but definitely health is included. Overall health. We're not just talking about our bodies, we're talking about our mental health. We're talking about our spiritual health as well. And so there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be encouraged to let go of thought, repeated patterns, knee-jerk reactions. This is a perfect time for shadow work. I explain what shadow work is in my shadow work journal book. And I explain that our negative thoughts become addictions. And so this is exactly on the Pisces Virgo axis because Pisces in low vibe rules addictions and Virgo rules health, right? So I explain how drama, knee-jerk reactions become addictive. And so it's very difficult to reset, but we can do it. We can learn how to rewire our brains when we take control of our emotions so our emotions don't take control of us. So a lot of us are going to be encouraged to do shadow work at the time of this eclipse. So you can find this book. I give 7 brain hacks, which help you rewire your brain. I give you lots of room for journaling, and I explain how our there's lots of different brain hacks and room for journaling. I give you lots of quotes, and it's a great book for helping you with the shadow work. So I think a lot of people are going to be encouraged by the cosmos to say, oh, okay, yeah, I do have that repeated knee-jerk reaction. Okay, these triggers, I'm so sick and tired of my triggers. Like I am so sick and tired of my own BS. So I think that's going to get brought up for a lot of people at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Okay, so again, back to Virgo. Virgo is all things health, and it's also what we're doing daily. So, like at your work, at home, what are the daily tasks? And so, a lot of us are going to we're going to see this is actually isn't serving me anymore. What I'm doing, yeah, I'm doing this, like I'm repeating this. And it could be, something that you are or are not doing. Like I know that I should be walking every day and I'm not doing it. It's things like this, right? Or this thing that you do at work and you're doing it all the time. And it's like, no, it's not serving you anymore. So it's things like this that are going to come up and we're going to be asked to go on to a new timeline. And it might be jarring for a lot of people. This was shocking for me. This whole like, I don't get sick, okay? I don't take breaks. And the universe said, well, yeah, you do. So it can be surprising too and humbling. And yeah, okay, I'll take the break. I need the break. And I'm very pleased I'm not having a big coughing fit on this video so far. If I do, I'll pause it. I might take water breaks, all that jazz. I also want to talk about the astrology of this particular lunar eclipse. So it's at 23 degrees Virgo. So 23 degrees, as I've explained in many of my full moon videos here, 23 degrees is that out of bounds degree. Anything 23 degree and above is out of bounds. In other words, the moon doesn't know how to act. It's a wild card energy and it's already an eclipse. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a wild card eclipse. So expect the unexpected. This full moon is opposite Saturn because Saturn is at 22 degrees in Pisces. I'll remind you, I've gone through these videos, if you've been watching my videos, that there's a Pisces pileup happening right now. There are so many planets in Pisces right now. And so Saturn is one of them at 22 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune is at 29 degrees Pisces. Okay, this full moon total lunar eclipse is also trining Uranus and trining Pluto. So, wow, okay. Wow, trine is like nice energy. It's helpful energy. That's nice, right? And, Uranus and Pluto, those two outer planets. So there is an opportunity for when we are offered this new timeline by this eclipse, because eclipses always offer a new timeline, whether it's a very noticeable new timeline or, just a tiny little one street over timeline. We've got Uranus and Pluto here saying, yes, transformation and liberation is possible because transformation is the name of the game when it comes to Pluto. It is the rebirth planet. And then Uranus is all it seeks to liberate. It's surprising and shocking and not what you were expecting, but it seeks to liberate you. So just keep that in mind when it comes to this eclipse as well, is there's a lot of players involved here, and we cannot forget the Pisces pile up. So there's so much energy where the North Node is. And the North Node is in Pisces, and Pisces can be very confusing and vague and disillusioning and dreamy. And so I encourage you, please don't get lost in drugs or alcohol at the time of this eclipse because it can be very confusing, very brain foggy. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's talk about let's talk about what the main theme is. I've written down notes about what I feel the main theme of this eclipse is. Clean up the mess. Clean. Virgos like clean and tidy. Okay. A Virgo loves to clean and clean house and keep it tidy. So yes, clean up the mess in your life. I'm clearing out the guck. I have a lot of grief stored. I am aware of that. It's grief and grieving, loss, saying goodbye. That's a big theme for my own life. And so it's of no surprise to me, even though it was surprising because I don't get sick often. It is of no surprise to me that the cosmos are encouraging me to clean out the gunk, clean it out. I no longer have to hold on to the grief, to the loss, right? That's no longer serving me. So I encourage each of you to ask yourself, where do I need to clean up the mess in my own life? And just surrender to it. As you have heard me saying, I didn't have to do a lot of work. I just need to rest. That's what the universe is telling me to do. For others, yeah, you might really feel like, okay, the chaos in my house, if you are living amongst a mess, like literally, like you need to clean up house. You might really be feeling this. It might literally be a mess, right? And so you need to get to work because you haven't been. So again, I have been encouraged not to work, to rest, but some of you might be getting a very different message. So each of you ask yourself at the time. So I'm recording this on the 7th and it's already hitting everyone I know as well. So ask yourself honestly, is it a hot mess? Because is it just a little mess? What is the mess? I surrender. I will clean up that mess. I am open to jumping onto the new timeline. I'm excited. I'll be getting onto a very healthy timeline now that all the gunk will be getting out. I know that it's all coming toward me and I am surrendering. So this is the first amount of work I've done for a while, and hopefully I don't have a huge coughing fit. Okay, so that is the astrology of this total lunar eclipse in Virgo. And so now I've got some feedback that it was confusing as I was going through the all signs forecast for these videos. So thank you for that feedback. And I have written down some notes here, and I will do it Aries through Pisces. And that's also how I'm going to set up the timestamps in this video. So you're going to be listening if you're an astrology buff. I listen to videos just like this for sun, moon, and rising. Okay. So those three. If you know your sun, moon, and your rising, you're going to want to listen to all three. Your sun is your career, where you're going in life. Your moon is your emotions. If you've got some emotional turmoil, you want to listen for your moon sign. And your rising, it's like your avatar. I always listen to my rising first, and then my sun, and then my moon. That's just me. That's how I listen to it. The rising sign is going to show you the exact house placement that this full moon is affecting you. And then you want to listen to your sun as well. I always listen for my sun as well because it does impact my outer world. My sun is my shine, and it impacts my career, stuff like that, right? So sun, moon, rising, you might want to listen for all those. And if you don't know your sun, moon, rising, and you're just listening for your sign, that's cool too. So I'm going to be starting with Aries or Aries rising. Okay, here we are. Aries or Aries rising. It's affecting your 6th house. And so someone with an Aries rising, you have the perfect rising sign, the strongest rising sign, because that's where the signs all belong. And so Virgo belongs in the 6th house. So all those themes I was talking about at the beginning of this video about your health, your daily habits, this is all Virgo stuff. So I will remind you, eclipses are all about timeline shifts. So it's the universe putting you into a new timeline. You don't need to do any manifestation work at an eclipse, whether it's a full moon lunar eclipse or whether it is a new moon solar eclipse. You don't have to get out the pen and paper to write intentions. I do encourage you to get out your pen and paper in my moon journals at all of the eclipses, but they're different reflective questions as opposed to setting manifestation intentions up. It's not about that. So with Virgo ruling your sixth house, this is all about what is coming in, what is leaving regarding health. We're talking body, mind, and spirit. Okay. What needs to go? What needs to go? And it is going. It's that mindset that is no longer so you just know that that mindset is no longer serving you. So an example would be like, I am ugly. You look at yourself in the mirror and you go, I am ugly. And this is something that you have repeatedly said. You look, oh God, the wrinkles, oh this, that, the next, or whatever it is. You're repeatedly saying to yourself, I am ugly. So you're getting on a new timeline. If that's been plaguing you and you know it, you're getting on a new timeline, and your mindset's going to shift regarding your mental health. That's a mental health issue. If you are looking at yourself in the mirror and you can't see your beauty, and I don't care what you look like, you have beauty. There might be a major timeline shift, and receive it and surrender to it, because this whenever it's an eclipse, it's the universe saying, okay, so you've gone quite far. Maybe you've gone very far off the road and you're going to have a huge timeline shift, or maybe you're just veering a little bit and it's like timeline next door. And so that's up for you to decide. But all things regarding your overall health, mental health, spiritual health, physical health. And then it's also things like your everyday tasks. What do you do every day? Probably at work. This is a work house. So it could be a new job. It could be a whole new job. Or it could be you keep in the same job, but in a totally different role. It's the everyday tasks that you do. And if you are at home every day, then what do you do every day? Do you watch TV every day? Because maybe you're going to be put on a new timeline. Okay, now you have to start moving your body every day. Okay, now you have to start eating healthy every day. It's those everyday tasks for work and for taking care of your overall health. Okay, the sixth house also has to do with pets. So could be a new beginning with a pet. What comes in, what goes out. It's a surrendering. It's a surrendering. And I hate to say it regarding pets, but you know what I'm getting at. So all things health, work, pets. That's for you, Aries and Aries rising. Let us know how that resonates for you. And surrender to what is coming in and what is leaving. And at a full moon total lunar eclipse, the lunar eclipses usually are about a tangible thing. It's a tangible manifestation. And I encourage you to observe it and not fight it. You have every right to say, no, I refuse this new timeline. You have every right to say, no, no, I'm not going to accept this. And then at the next eclipse, and then the next eclipse, the timeline might be even harder, even larger. But again, it's up to you how you work with the universe and the eclipse seasons. I always love eclipse seasons. This hasn't been fun having this whole health situation. I'm an Aries, right? I'm an Aries, not an Aries rising, but I'm an Aries sun, and I got a lot of Aries. So yeah, this hasn't been fun, but I am surrendering to the slowdown and to resting. So maybe same thing's going to happen for you, and maybe you're just going to need to rest for a bit. Taurus and Taurus rising, fifth house. Taurus. Okay, the fifth house is the fun house. This is all things creative and artsy fartsy. So artsy fartsy can be anything that you create. It can be, yes, a beautiful masterpiece painted picture. Yes, of course it can be that, but anything you create, you can create an online course, any kind of creation. There might be something coming in or going out regarding creation, creative projects. I also children, also children. So this could be suddenly you are pregnant. Suddenly, boom. Congratulations, motherhood is coming your way. It could be that when it's in the fifth house. If you already have children, then boom, you might be going on to a new timeline with your children. Maybe you've been struggling with your kids, and the universe is going to put you onto a more healthy or something new with your children, okay? Something to do with your children and maybe regarding health, because this is on the health axis. Virgo is all about health and work and everyday things. So children, creative projects, it's all things fun. So like Taurus and Taurus rising, if you forgot what fun was, if you haven't had fun for a while, boom, you might be put on a fun new timeline. Maybe you're gonna that fun thing that you've always meant to do, it's finally gonna happen. Something like that. Wouldn't that be great for Taurus? The fifth house is such a happy house, it's such a fun and joyful house. So hopefully you can surrender to joy and fun, Taurus, okay? But all things kids and projects. And so surrender to it because Pisces is across the street, right on the same axis. And Pisces is encouraging you to surrender to whatever it is that is coming in or leaving regarding fifth house things. Gemini, fourth house, Geminis. Okay, we love it. So this is definitely your emotions, feelings and emotions. So what's coming in, what's leaving? Like has your emotions been ruling you? Are you ready to do the shadow work? Have the emotions been ruling your life and now you're ready to take charge of your emotions? Gemini people might be really ready to start doing the shadow work. I would encourage you to look at that. All things mother wounds, what's coming in, what's leaving, maybe that motherhood wound, that sisterhood wound. It's time to finally, boop, get onto a new timeline because it's no longer serving you, right? All things house, home, property, real estate. Okay. So, what's coming in, what's leaving? Maybe you're going to move. Maybe you suddenly, the rent has increased, like it's things like this. And at first you're like, what? How dare they? Or I can't afford this anymore. But really, it's the universe getting you on a new timeline because you're not supposed to be there anymore, that kind of thing. Or maybe the dream house is finally available to you. Boom, the universe brought you and you're available on that timeline. So all those things for you, Gemini and Gemini rising, fourth house things, surrender to it because Pisces wants you to surrender. The word is surrender. And just we can't control what's coming in and what's leaving. That's why I don't recommend any kind of manifestation or intention work around an eclipse. So we must surrender. And for you, Gemini, it's all things regarding house, home, property, mothers, your emotions, and your sisterhood wounds and stuff like that. Cancer, third house. Cancer, third house. Okay, what's coming in and what's leaving Cancer regarding third house things. So I always say the third house is the junk drawer in astrology because it's so many things. But if it's one thing, it's your communication. So the way your words, you're speaking, the way you speak and what you're writing, the words you're throwing out there to the universe, your spells that you spell out to the universe. That's why they call it spelling. It's also things like your siblings and your cousins and your friends that feel like siblings, your closest people around you, and your neighbor and your neighborhood is all third house. It's also things like cars and scooters and bikes. So transportation, it's also things like short distance travel. So all those things that I said. So that's all things third house. Okay, Cancer rising. What's going in? What's coming in? What's the new timeline regarding those things? What's leaving? Are you leaving the neighborhood? Okay. Are you? Maybe. You might be leaving the neighborhood. Or you're changing things up with your neighbor. It's a new timeline shift with your neighbor. So you've been fighting with your neighbor for years and years and years. You are being put on a new timeline with your neighbor now. Stuff like this. Now you're finally working together. It's all those things. You got to go through what the third house is And what you have to do, Cancer, is you have to surrender because Pisces wants you to surrender to whatever is coming in or leaving at the time of an eclipse. That's why I never recommend doing manifestation work at eclipses because sometimes we go off way far off on our path, and that's okay because eclipses always bring us back to where we're meant to be. And that's what I love about eclipses. Right? That's why surrendering to the power of eclipse is really a smart thing because we can make really wrong decisions and go this way and that way. Boop, boop, boop. Eclipses will get you right back on path. So, regarding all those third house things, Cancer, surrender to whatever is coming in or leaving. Leo, second house. Leo rising or Leo sun, second house for you. So that's all things self-worth. What are you worthy of? Well, let me give you a little hint. All of it. Leo, you're worthy of it all. And so do you know this? Do you know that you are worthy just because you are? Just because you are here? Just because you are still here on Earth? Well, you're worthy of it all. And so do you know this yet, Leo? And so when you do really know this, that's when the cycle of money comes in, right? You're in flow with the money because the second house is all about self-worth, and then you will get your worth. It's all things worth. And it works in a cycle this way, right? And so when we know our worth, that's when we get into the flow of money. Money's an energy exchange. That's when we become one with the energy exchange of money. And so for you, Leo risings and Leo people, you're getting this money worthiness activation. So maybe you've been going way off path, making some decisions and not knowing your worth. And so the universe is boop, putting you on a timeline now regarding your worth and saying, yes, you are worthy of this. So it might take out some money, might put in some money, might take out the old, outdated, I'm unworthy statements and beliefs and put in boop, new sense of worthiness. You might be put on a timeline of knowing your worth. And wouldn't that be beautiful if you've been struggling with that? So Leo and Leo rising, excited for you. Second house activation on this eclipse. Let us know. Virgo, first house. Virgo rising people, first house. Virgo sun people, this is on your sun. You are feeling this eclipse in a big, 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 big way. So anything in your first house, whenever anything comes through your first house, I mean, especially the moon, I guess, because it's your emotions. But whenever anything comes through your first house, it can cause anxiety because it's like, oh God, here it is. Oh, it's here. I feel it. My whole identity. So the first house is your cosmic business card, right? And it's your avatar. So if you're thinking like of a video game and you're playing the video game and you've got the avatar on the screen, well, that's literally who we are. We've chosen, believe it or not, we chose to look like this. And this is our portal for being on Earth. So we should love it. We should love our portals. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have this body. And so this eclipse is hitting the portal, hitting the vessel. And so maybe it's going to put you on a timeline of health for you. Like, oh, it's time. It is time to take care of your body. Oh, it is time to take care of your mental health. Oh, it's time to take care of your spiritual health. So it might be a rude awakening for some, and that's okay because we need to surrender to this. Pisces, right, as you know, it's right opposite you. Pisces wants us to surrender to what is coming in to our lives at the time of this eclipse or what is leaving. Maybe you have had a really bad habit of eating junk food, too much sugar, whatever it is, drinking, smoking, vaping. The universe might make it very clear to you that that's going to end and you're going to get on a healthier timeline. That might be happening for you if this is hitting, if you're a Virgo and a Virgo rising, all things health. So it's also your work. So your work life might get severely affected. You might get a whole new job. You might lose your job. Please do know whatever the eclipses take away, it is to put you on a higher timeline. If it leaves, please do know that it is meant to leave. So to fight, so if you do lose your job, to fight for that job that you lose at the time of this eclipse would be a mistake. It would be a mistake because again, the south node is in Virgo. So things that leave at an eclipse on the south node are to be left, are to be left and not to be fought for. So if you do lose your job, my heart goes out to you. I do know that the universe is putting you on a new timeline, and I hope that you one day will know that too. You'll have that belief and that knowing. So Virgo, for you, it's all things health, overall health, your work, your daily habits. What are you doing on the daily? Do you take care of your body? Do you take care of things at work? Or are you lazy? Are you not doing the things? Are you letting the boxes and the junk pile up because the universe is going to put you on a new timeline to get tidied up? What's the mess? What is the mess? The Virgo North Node wants you to clean, or South Node wants you to clean up this mess. And it's in your first house. So it could be any area of your life. It could be anything. All those things I just said, yes, your work, your habits, your health, yes, but when it's on your first house, it could be anything. So do surrender to the beautiful North Node in Pisces. That is all about let go, let Goddess, surrendering and believing that and knowing that this is a better timeline, a higher timeline for your future self. Okay, Libra, 12th house, 12th house, Libra. Okay, that is the let go, let Goddess house. That's the final house. The 12th house is the last of the houses. It's the end of the road. Okay, so take that into heart. If something is leaving on this south node, let it go. Just let it go. Could be anything, and it could have to do with addictions. It could have to do with addictions because the 12th house does rule addictions. So we're talking, yeah, sure, drinking and smoking, but it could be that addiction to junk food. You eat healthy all day, and then at the end of the day, you just can't stop eating the junk, the chips, the da 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 da. Might be time. Might be time to let it go, right? And the universe is going to put you onto that new timeline at the time of this eclipse. So surrender to it and just say, okay, well, this is a little bit hard, but yeah, this is for my best interest. 12th house, it's all things addictions, it's forgiveness. So it might be an internal shift for you as opposed to a tangible manifestation, a tangible thing that you can touch with your hands at the time of this lunar eclipse. So it might be about forgiveness of something that you have just held on to for the longest time. Might be time to do some shadow work. 12th house is very shadow worky. We love the 12th house. Helps us let go, let Goddess. And this book that I've written not only gives you 7 brain hacks to help you rewire, but it explains that we get addicted to stress hormones. And I go through that process. And so it's not our fault, right? Like it happens. And most of our programs are like sizzled into our brain by age 7. And many of us are running on programs our whole adult lives until we start to become the observer. So this is like so 12th housey. Check out my shadow work book. Might be time to do the shadow work and move through the darkness, because once you move through the darkness, that's when you get to the light. So Libra people, you might be feeling this. I'm a Libra moon, so I hear you. I hear you. I'm always doing the shadow work. I love shadow work. I'm obsessed with it. I do it with my clients like all the time. That's what I do. But I also do the shadow work like all the time because hello, past programming. Yeah, it's real. It's a thing. So yeah, a lot of shadow work for you, Libras, a lot of letting go, letting Goddess. And tangibly in the 12th house are things like hospitals, orphanages, prisons, rehab centers. So if something comes in regarding those things, so maybe a new job, maybe you're a nurse, whatever, a new job, boom, it comes in. You've got a job at one of those places or like one of those kinds of places that helps people with, addictions and letting go, you might have a whole new job, or if you had a job at one of those kind of institutions, it might be leaving. Please do let it go when it comes to a South Node eclipse. It's highly encouraged not to fight for it if you lose that job at that hospital. Just accept that the universe has taken it out because you're getting on a new timeline, this new timeline that if you start walking, if you start working with this new timeline, it's going to be for your greater good. Okay, Scorpio, 11th house. So I'm Scorpio rising. Same for me. So I'm 11th house. I always listen for my rising first, then my sun and my moon. So I'm a Scorpio rising as well. It's hitting our 11th house. And it's a South Node eclipse, right? So leave. Things leave. Like 11th house things, like friends, friendship groups, and groups online, and internet things, because the 11th house is all things on the interwebs. And the future, it's the future, it's the greatest good for all, right? The 11th house. Um, it's also like extreme overthinking. 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, and that can be like extreme monkey mind. So maybe that's leaving for some Scorpio risings is, the friendships that are no longer serving, or, and or that overthinking, that stinking thinking, and it's not serving you. And there might be a shadow work journal that really helps you rewire your brain. So something like this could come in and help you with that stinking thinking and that overthinking. What something might be brought in as well. You might get a whole new friendship group. Usually when it comes to a South Node eclipse, if it leaves, I highly recommend to not fight for it, right? Because it's on the South Node. If it comes in on the South Node, it's fated, and accept, surrender. Whatever comes in, whatever leaves, surrender to it, because this is on the Pisces Virgo axis. Pisces is about surrendering. Pisces is about forgiving and letting go. And so that may be part of it too. When the friends leave, if you are exiled from your community, which Scorpio risings often are. I have many examples that I no longer tell those stories. I don't live in victimhood anymore. And so I no longer retell my victim stories, but to say that I've been exiled from communities is very correct. And so it might be time to finally forgive. It's not saying that what they did was okay to you. It's not at all that, but forgiving, letting go, letting goddess, forgiving yourself for getting entangled in it is very powerful. And then, boom, you get brought into a whole new group of friends. You finally find your people. They've left your life, and so now your life is open so that you can find your people. This is all about community. This is all about finding your people. And so for Scorpio risings, there might be a lot of that forgiveness, surrendering, groups, and things online, because 11th house is all things technology for sure. Okay, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, 10th house, Sagittarius people. Okay, so 10th house is career. So on a South Node, I always recommend if something leaves, don't fight for it, right? So if you lose your job at an eclipse in the 10th house, surrender to that and know that the universe is putting on a different timeline for a better job. But things might come in too, and you might, if you're a Saggy person, you might be getting a new job, and surrender to that and be like, okay, so I haven't been working for a while and I got this new opportunity. It's time to get back to work. So 10th house is definitely a work house. Definitely it's your career. It's also things to do with your dad and your father, your daddy issues, or like a father figure or a CEO type. So maybe you'll be getting a new boss, or one boss is leaving, stuff like that. It's also a title change from Ms. to Mrs. or assistant to CEO. So if there's a title change, if there's a career change, if there's something going on with your dad, if it leaves, surrender to that and know that you're getting put onto a new timeline. If something comes in, regarding all those 10th house things, same thing, surrender to it and know that the universe is putting you on a new timeline regarding all 10th house things. 10th house, you can't hide what's happening in the 10th house. It's the very, very, very top of the chart. And so this is something that you're not hiding. You can't hide your emotions about it. You can't hide what's actually happening. So surrender to that. Maybe it's something that you haven't been able to talk about or haven't been willing to go there. Surrender to it. The universe is saying you're ready now. It's time for everyone to see this thing. And it, could be like a title change from Mrs. back to Ms. Not just a step. Either way, getting married, getting divorced. And it's that thing of like, okay, well, I'm not going to hide it anymore. Like, yeah, we're divorced now. Yeah, we're separated now. And it could be that kind of a title change that you just need to surrender to. Don't need to hide it. Whatever is happening up there, you don't need to hide it anymore. And the universe doesn't want you to. Okay, Capricorn, ninth house. So Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun people. This is impacting your ninth house. Okay, ninth house. All things spiritual, religious, all things, what do you believe? What do you know? All things teaching, learning. So especially in the secondary school system, so like a master's degree, a diploma program, that kind of thing. It's also foreigners and foreign countries, trips as well, going to a foreign country for a vacation. So, or moving to a new country. So all those things I just said about the ninth house, something might come in, something might leave. Now, this is a south node eclipse. So if it leaves, I highly recommend to let it go. So if a foreigner, if you're dating someone from another country and they break up with you, thank you, goodbye. Surrender to the dumping. Okay, if you get dumped, or if you want to dump, if you want to leave someone that is from a foreign country, the universe is saying that is correct. They need to leave your life. Boom, you put on another timeline. Okay, and it could also be about I need to move to a different country. I need to move. The universe is putting you onto another timeline. You need to move elsewhere from your country. Or you need to go to this country. It might come in, it might leave. Same with an education program, right? I need to start this master's program. Boom, you're accepted into the program. Or you need to leave this school. I've signed up for this diploma program. It is not working for me. It's that kind of thing. And then it's also religion, like your religion, you might leave your religion, Boom, the universe puts you on a different trajectory, going to learn about spirituality versus religion, this sort of thing. So surrender to whatever comes in or whatever leaves. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to manifest something new. Like, oh, I wanted to get into that master's program at so-and-so university. I'm setting those intentions. Don't do that work right now. All you need to do is surrender to what is coming in and what is leaving, and knowing deep in your bones that the universe is putting you on a timeline that is where you want to literally be in the future. This is a better timeline for you. Even if at the time it doesn't feel like it is for your greatest good to be put on this new timeline. Okay, so we just did Capricorn in the ninth, and now we're doing Aquarius. Aquarius in the eighth house. Are you Aquarius rising? Are you an Aquarius sun? Is impacting your eighth house. Eighth house is the butterfly house. So you couldn't go back to being the caterpillar even if you wanted to, because you are now transformed into a butterfly. It's the same, the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? The phoenix goes all the way to rock bottom. There is nowhere else to go. So the phoenix rises from the ashes because there is nowhere else to go but up, because you've already reached rock bottom. So yeah, it's a lot of shadow work. It's a lot of shadow. I wrote the book on shadow work. I teach you what shadows are, triggers, how we get addicted to our stress hormones, and then I give you some brain hacks to help you rewire your brain, because we get our programs sizzled in by around age 7, and then we're running on programs for most of our adult life until we become the observer And then we transform. This is how we transform. We do it by taking charge of our emotions so that our emotions don't take charge of us. So, Aquarius people, you might be feeling the need to do some shadow work. My shadow work journal is awesome. I'm getting great feedback on it as well. So, there's a link for that in the show notes. Um, so, it's the transformation house, the eighth house. It's that death rebirth. It's that, yeah, I'm no longer going to be doing this. And I'm completely rebirthing myself. So it's a huge transformation house. It is also a money house. It's the money that you make with your spouse. It's your investments. It's your inheritance. So if something leaves, like your inheritance, you suddenly don't have an inheritance. The universe is putting you on a different timeline. Don't fight for the inheritance. This is on a south node, right? Whatever leaves at a south node, you don't fight for. You know that the universe is putting you on the right timeline. So it could have to do with chunky money. I call it chunky money. So it's all that inheritance stuff, taxes, that kind of thing. Or money might come in. Money might come in. What comes in, surrender to it. What leaves, surrender to it. Don't forget the North Node's in Pisces. The name of the game is surrender when it comes to Pisces. Surrendering, knowing, trusting the universe has got your back. These eclipses on this Pisces Virgo axis are putting us on the right timeline, surrendering to being like, okay, I surrender to that then. I don't need to control everything. And in my moon journal, I don't recommend doing any intention setting at eclipses. We need to surrender to what is coming in and what is leaving. So eighth house is all those things about transformation, perhaps chunky money, and also has to do with your sex life. So if you haven't had a sex life, boom, you're getting put on the timeline for a new sex life. Fantastic. Or perhaps you've had a sexual partner for years. He's being taken out. It's putting you on a better timeline. Okay. Always remember that. Whatever leaves, whatever comes in, just surrender to it and know that this is a timeline shift. And last but not least, Pisces, you are in the seventh house. If you are a Pisces rising, or if you have Pisces sun, your seventh house is getting impacted by this total lunar eclipse. So it's a full moon. At a full moon, we always look at the manifestations, right? Like what's showing up, what didn't show up, you know? But for you, it's in the seventh house. It's an eclipse, right? So it's like it's a full moon on steroids. So when it comes to seventh house Pisces, it's all things your closest relationships. So yes, your spouse, your bestest friend, your bestest friends, your business partner, that person that you're working with like every single day, those closest people in your life, your relationships. Okay. What's going in, what's coming out. So yeah, so for Pisces people, it's taking an honest look. If the universe is putting you on a new timeline regarding those relationships, it might be very difficult and you might leave relationships or someone might be leaving you. Please do know, since it's on a south node, you don't fight for that relationship. You surrender. You surrender. And when it's on a south node, and if you're getting dumped by your spouse, that is the universe putting you on a timeline. And that's a very difficult timeline to step on and journey on. Absolutely. But it's the timeline that is going to serve you better. That is like a rule of thumb. If something leaves huge, like a marriage on a south node, just know that the universe has got your back, right? And I know those are hard words. I'm not trying to silver line you, but we're talking about the seventh house here. These are your closest relationships. So if that business partner leaves, if that best friend leaves, if that spouse leaves, just know that the universe is putting you on a timeline that is for your greater good. And also, on the other hand, something might come in. Here, you might be getting married, could be getting married, or you meet the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, or that business partner you've been dreaming of finally plops in, that best friend that you've always wanted. Boom, they're coming in around the time of this eclipse. So whatever it is, surrender because the Pisces is involved. We've got Pisces involved. The name of the game. We've got the North Node in Pisces, and the name of the game of Pisces is surrender. Let go, let goddess. Okay, so now we are doing our tarot read. I'm going to pull a tarot card on this total lunar eclipse at 23 degrees Virgo. When it comes to eclipses, it's about timeline shifting. It's not about writing intentions. It's not about manifesting. It's about surrendering to what comes in, surrendering to what's leaving. And in particular, this is a South Node eclipse. So if something is leaving your life at a South Node eclipse, and I don't care what sign it's in, if something, someone, a relationship, a job, a house, a place that you live, I don't care what it is, something that leaves your life, and it's a big deal, and it's leaving your life on a South Node eclipse, you don't fight for it. It's the universe putting you on a timeline that is more suitable for your future self and is for your greater good. And it might be really, really difficult to start walking the path of that new timeline because this thing, this relationship, this person, this job, this house, this neighborhood, these people have left you at the time of this South Node. I promise you the timeline that you're putting on, that you're getting putting onto at the time of this eclipse is better for you. It is your higher self putting you on a different timeline because perhaps you went way off track. Perhaps you did, or perhaps you're just even a little more off track. Either way, we're not judging ourselves. We are noticing, we are observing that there is a timeline shift, and we are being invited to walk on the timeline at a time of a South Node eclipse. If it leaves, surrender, let it go. If it comes in, surrender and welcome it. Absolutely, things can come in at a South Node eclipse as well. It doesn't make them bad, it makes it fabulous, and we will accept it, and we will walk that new timeline as well. But it might also take work, and it might not be the way we wanted it because eclipses we don't control. We don't set manifestations. We don't set intentions. We don't do that at eclipses. What we do is we sit back, we observe what comes in or what leaves, and we surrender because this is a North Node Pisces we're talking about. And the name of the game with Pisces is surrender. Surrender. And so here we're going to pull a tarot card at the time of this total lunar eclipse, 23 degrees Virgo. What is the tarot message for us? And here's the card right here. Six of Cups upright. Isn't it beautiful? There it is. There it is. Six of Cups. Okay, so this is the Six of Cups as a tarot reader. This is a lot about our old friends, our childhood friends, our old neighborhoods. Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's about people that we once used to know. If these people leave, if these people are gossiping about you, if these people don't accept you, let go, let God, surrender to that and get onto the new timeline of new friends. You might have no friends at the time of this eclipse. You might have zero community. Okay, no problem. Surrender to that and know that you're putting on a timeline where you're going to find your people. Your community is coming to you. You just were distracted for many, many years, perhaps many decades, with people that you were being loyal to, but they were not being loyal to you, and the universe saw that, and finally you're going to be brought to your people. It could be that for a lot of people. Six of Cups is also an inner child healing card. So it's a lot about, speaking of the journals, this Mandela Manifesting Coloring Journal I've created with Joanna the Healer. We're going to be presenting this to our workshop members coming up at the end of March. But you can also order this on Amazon, and we provide 20 mandalas for you to color because coloring gets you back into that creative flow and it brings you back to the brilliance of your inner child. So for a lot of us, we're being invited strongly by the universe to reconnect with our inner child, do the inner child healing. And if you're thinking, wow, that sounds woo-woo, no thanks. Well, can you color? Because coloring's fun. Everybody agrees coloring's fun. So get out your pencil crayons, your whatever you want to color with, and just get into that flow state. And you might be shocked and surprised and delighted how it just suddenly you'll know things. Suddenly you'll have that inspired thought. Suddenly a creative project just comes to you, or you just know what to do. Just when you get into that flow state of the coloring. What we used to do as children, we forgot. We forgot to do these fun things because we're all adults now, and then we have to do all this adulting every single day. That's so Virgo. We have to do the things every single day. We have to work hard. That's so Virgo, and we love that. We love Virgo energy, and we love schedules, and we love routines, but maybe we love them a little too much, and we forgot how brilliant our inner child is, and our inner child actually has all the answers. So, I mean, I'm an astrologer, but I'm here to tell you, you don't really need astrology. You don't really need a lot of things. What you do need is to connect to your inner child, because your inner child is the genius of your life. And so sometimes, just sometimes, getting into that creative flow and grabbing the pencil crayons and just coloring can get you there. And so we provide a mandala, like for instance, this beautiful mandala here. And then Joanna the healer, she's a channel, and she took in the beauty of each mandala, and then she channeled a message for each mandala. And for this particular one, it's the best is yet to come. I no longer fear being seen. And then we wrote a journal prompt for each of them and some journaling pages. So we take you through all of these mandalas with channeled messages. Grab your pencil crayons and color. And what a beautiful way to get back to the wise and brilliant inner child. And that's very, very, very Pisces. Pisces loves creation and flow and wants us to thin the veils between this world and the other. And what better way to thin those worlds than by asking our inner child? And for some people, that is super, super woo. For some people, that is laughable, but just give it a try. If you don't get the journal, just try coloring, just try getting into that creative flow. And so I love that we got the Six of Cups for this particular lunar eclipse. For some people, it's letting go of the people that are no longer serving so that we can form strong communities. I promise you, your people are there. You just haven't found them yet. For some people, it's that message. And for other people, it's the get back to that wise and brilliant inner child, because your inner child knows exactly what to do and how to guide you if you're willing to listen to your inner child. They're the geniuses. They're the life coach. They're the astrologer. They're the wise ones. And so are we willing to listen? So I love that we got that card for this particular moon. And I'm advising all of you to surrender to what comes in or what leaves at the time of this South Node eclipse. Let's not forget, this is a South Node eclipse. And so if it leaves, if they leave you, if the thing is gone and you're getting put onto a new timeline that is jarring and surprising, please do keep in mind this timeline. If you are courageous enough to start walking the new timeline, it is for your greatest good. This is the redirection and the reset from the universe that you have been waiting for, even though it comes in a not very nice bow. It's delivered to you in a shocking and surprising manner. Please do know this timeline is for you. And alternatively, perhaps something new comes in and it's a great opportunity and you're not sure. Should I walk this? Should I walk this new path? It sounds maybe good, but I'm not sure. I want to stay safe over here. You have every right to say no to the new timeline that comes to you at this eclipse, whether it's something coming in or something leaving. You have every right to do what you want to do with it, but I'm advising you now that if it comes in, surrender, go. If it leaves, surrender, leave it. So I hope this video has served you. Please do let me know in the comments. What's your sun sign? What's your rising sign? How is this particular eclipse impacting your life? Are you already feeling it the way that I am? And on my health, share your eclipse stories with us. And by all means, wishing you a blessed and surrendering total lunar eclipse in Virgo. All my best.